Hello and good morning. This is Mehek Rohra, your instructor, and in today's session we would be discussing all the exercises that are relating to the chapter acid, bases and salt. Whatever exercises, question and answers and multiple choice questions that I discuss here with you will be provided to you in some electronic form such as an MS Word document or a PDF format, so you can access all the answers to them quite easily. So let us begin with the first question. What is a neutralization reaction? And you have to give two examples. As you know, when acids react with bases, they form salt and water. So the reaction of an acid on a base or a base on an acid to produce its corresponding salt and water is called a neutralization reaction. When you are giving the two examples, it is important that you write the equation, chemical equation, along with the word equation, and entire answer can be in the form of points. So you can mention the reaction of an acid on a base to produce corresponding salt and water is termed as neutralization reaction. Example 1, hydrochloric acid reacts with sodium hydroxide to give you sodium chloride, salt and water. The reaction of this is as follows: NaOH in aqueous solution plus HCl in its aqueous solution gives you NaCl plus H2O. Balanced equation is what needs to be written. Second one, sodium hydroxide reacts with sulfuric acid to give sodium sulfate salt and water. The reaction for the same being 2NaOH plus H2SO4 gives you Na2SO4 plus H2H2O. The reaction that you write needs to be in its balanced form. You can just not write plain chemical equation for the reaction and leave it then and there. It is, if you want, it's highly recommended that you mention the physical states if you remember them. If not, at least remember to balance the equations when you're giving the examples. Next question. An acid or a base is mixed with water. They're asking you if this process is exothermic or an endothermic one. If you remember the activity we did where we took about 10 ml of water and we slowly added some concentrated sulfuric acid to it, then that process, when you touch the bottom of a test tube which contains these drops of acid with 10 ml of water, you would see that the test tube would be warm or eventually it would turn hot. This is because when acid is slowly added to water or when water is mixed with acid or a base, the process is highly exothermic. There is a lot of local heating. In fact, when you try and add water to acid, it may eventually cause that beaker to explode or even burn. This is because a lot of excessive heating takes place when water is added to acid instead of acid being added to water. So, to answer this question, we can take in the form of a paragraph and say the process of dissolving an acid or a base in water is an exothermic process. Care must be taken while mixing concentrated acids or bases in water. The acid or base must slowly be added to water drop by drop with constant stirring. Next question. Distilled water does not conduct electricity, and why? You know, any compound in its aqueous solution will conduct electricity if charged particles can move, if it can dissociate into its respective ions, and the flow of those ions will help current pass through. Now, distilled water is the pure form of water. Pure form of water will, if you pass electricity through it, distilled water will not dissociate into its respective ions and make current flow through it and produce electricity. Hence, distilled water will not conduct electricity. So, to answer this question, you can say distilled water is the pure form of water which does not contain any ions or any charged particles, nor does it dissociate. Hence, when current will pass through distilled water, there will be no movement of ions which will help the flow of current and produce electricity. Next question. Dry hydrogen chloride gas does not turn blue litmus to red, whereas aqueous hydrogen chloric acid or hydrochloric acid does. And why? If you remember, we did the session where we made NaCl salt react with sulfuric acid, which is H2SO4, to produce dry hydrogen chloride gas, which was evolved. And we know that bases turn blue litmus red, but dry hydrogen chloride gas does not turn blue litmus red. Why? Because dry hydrogen chloride gas in its gaseous form cannot dissociate into H plus and Cl minus ions, and acid is a substance that is capable of releasing H plus ions. Now, since dry hydrogen chloride gas does not fit this criteria, hence it is not an acid, and hence it will never turn blue litmus to red. So, to answer this question, we can take up to a paragraph and say dry hydrogen chloride gas does not turn blue litmus red or not, and not red litmus blue. It does not turn blue litmus red as it is not considered an acid in its gaseous form. An acid is a substance which releases H plus ion in its aqueous solution. Dry hydrogen chloride gas in itself cannot dissociate into H plus and Cl minus ions, and hence it will not turn blue litmus red. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next question. You have to draw a neat diagram showing acid solution in water conducting electricity. This diagram has been presented to you on the right hand side and is also available in your books. So, the important part is showing dilute HCl solution, means HCl solution in its aqueous form, labeled diagram, 2 graphite rods, a beaker, the wires that are attached to these cathodes and anodes, which are connected to the AC plug and which is connected to the bulb. You have to show and label all of these exactly correct, and you will have to show the glowing of the bulb. This will complete the diagram which show acidic solutions in water will conduct electricity. You have to label the graphite rods, the dilute HCl solution, the beaker, the wires, the bulb, the AC plug. And you can give it a heading as acid solutions in water conduct electricity. Why? Because you don't have to mention it. If they tell you to just draw a diagram, you just draw a diagram. If they ask you to explain how they do it, then you can explain the process of how they dissociate into H plus ions and their cations, and how the movement of these ions helps current flow through the dilute solution, and how they conduct electricity. If not, you just draw the diagram, label it, and that is it. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next question. Why does the flow of acid rain into river make survival of aquatic life in river difficult? We know that plants and animals, both of them are sensitive to pH. It means we need a specific neutral range in which aquatic animals, plants, and even land animals and plants can survive. So, living organisms can survive only a narrow range of pH change, means we cannot really deal with a heavy pH change. Suddenly, if pH change decreases and it becomes water that we consume becomes highly acidic, it will harm our body, and similar way it will harm aquatic plants and animals. So, the acid rain, when the pH of rainwater is usually less than 5.6. Why? Because rainwater mixes with the gases that are present in the atmosphere, which are highly acidic in nature, and forms acid rain. When this acid rain is formed, its pH is usually less than 5.6 to 5.5, and this rain is called acid rain. When this acid rain usually goes in and flows into the rivers, it makes the river water acidic. Since the river water turns acidic and the narrow pH range that we can survive in, it crosses that range, then the survival of aquatic plants and aquatic life, be it plants or be it animals, will definitely turn difficult. So, to give an answer to this question, we can say living organisms can survive only in a narrow range of pH change. When pH of rainwater is less than 5.6, it is referred to as acid rain. When this acid rain flows into the rivers, it lowers the pH of the river water and makes it highly acidic. And the survival of aquatic life in such rivers hence becomes difficult. That is it for this question. Let's go to the next one. What is baking powder? How does it make the cake soft and spongy? Baking powder is a substance usually that contains sodium hydrogen carbonate and calcium hydrogen phosphate and starch. So, Sodium hydrogen carbonate is baking soda, which is one of the important ingredients in a substance which is called baking powder. So when this substance goes in through, is mixed in bread or cake, it produces carbon dioxide, and when this carbon dioxide is produced, it rises through the dough and it makes it soft, spongy, and even smoother. So the reason is the production of CO2 inside baking soda, which is a major component of baking powder. Hence, baking powder is what makes cake soft and spongy. So to give an answer to this question, we can say baking powder is a substance which contains sodium hydrogen carbonate and other components like calcium hydrogen phosphate and starch. Sodium hydrogen carbonate in baking powder produces CO2, which rises through bubbling dough and into cake or bread. This results the cake or bread to be smooth and spongy. You can give the answer in 2 points or in a paragraph, it depends on you, but you must always mention the chemical compound which is sodium hydrogen carbonate present in baking powder. And the evolution of CO2 rising through cakes and breads is what makes it smooth and spongy. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next one. Give 2 important uses of each washing soda and baking soda. When we were discussing about the family of salts, we discussed at least 4 uses of each baking soda and washing soda. Using them, you can write any 2. And in points, saying uses of baking soda can be, it is used in fire extinguishers as soda acid. It is a mild antiseptic. In baking soda, now in washing soda, you can say washing soda is used in glass, soap, and paper industries, and washing soda is used to make other sodium compounds such as borax. Borax helps you remove stains. It is a chemical compound that it's a sodium compound, and it has water of crystallization molecules. It's a compound that helps you usually remove stains. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next one. 5 solutions A, B, C, D and E when tested with universal indicator showed a pH of 4, 1, 11, 7 and 9 respectively. So A showed 4, B showed 1, C showed 11, D showed 7 and E showed 9. So you have to classify which one are weakly acidic, which one are weakly basic, which one are neutral, which one are strongly acidic and strongly alkaline. If you remember the pH scale, you know that from 0 to 7 we have strongly acidic to weakly acidic. From 7 to 14 we have weakly alkaline to strongly alkaline. This range where we have around 5, 6, 7, 8, these are neutral substances, the range of neutral substances. So A has a pH of 4. 4 is weakly acidic because it is in the range of acidic substances, 1 being strongly acidic, and as the pH increases it becomes weakly acidic. Now B shows 1. 1 will be strongly acidic. The lower the pH value, the higher the hydrogen ion concentration and higher the acidic character. B is 1 and 1 is strongly acidic. Now C is 11. 11 goes towards alkaline substances. Now 11, higher the pH value, lower the hydrogen ion concentration or more the hydroxyl ion concentration, and hence C would be strongly alkaline. D would be 7. 7 stands for neutral no matter what, so 7 would be neutral as it lies in between. E is 9. 9 lies between 7 and 14, so it is weakly alkaline, not exactly neutral, not exactly alkaline, but weakly alkaline. So neutral 7, strongly alkaline 11, strongly acidic 1, weakly acidic 4, weakly alkaline 9. You can label them A, B, C, D, E and whatever the E is respectively. That is it for this question. Now let us go to the next one. Why does tooth decay start when pH of mouth is lower than 5.5? You know that tooth enamel is made of a substance called calcium phosphate. Calcium phosphate is the hardest substance in the body which will never dissolve in water, but it is capable of corrosion by acids. So when the pH of mouth gets to lower than 5.5, acidic substances like bacteria and other, they start forming and they start with tooth decay. This is what causes tooth decay, the acidic substances in your mouth. So to answer this question, you can say tooth enamel is made of calcium phosphate, being the hardest substance in the body. It does not dissolve in water, but it gets corroded when the pH of mouth is below 5.5, since the bacteria that is present in the mouth produce acids by degradation of sugar and food particles remaining in the mouth. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next one. Milkman adds a very small amount of baking soda to fresh milk. This is a statement that has been given to you, and two related questions have been asked. First one being, why does he shift the pH of fresh milk from acidic nature to slightly alkaline? Usually when you see fresh milk, when it comes in your homes, it has some kind of alkali substance being added to it. Why? So that milk doesn't get spoiled easily, because fresh milk can easily react with acidic characters and form curd. Usually bacteria can easily react on fresh milk and form lactic acid and eventually form curd. So to delay this process and to not spoil the milk for a longer period of time, we add baking soda to fresh milk. So, and why does the milk take long time to set as curd? Now that the base has been added, the fresh milk will become slightly alkaline. Since it becomes slightly alkaline, we need acidic conditions to set it into curd. This is the reason why it takes a longer time to set into curd, because we need acidic conditions, and right now our fresh milk is slightly alkaline. Hence the milk will take a longer time. So to answer both questions, part A, we can say baking soda is a mild corrosive base. Adding a base to a substance will increase its pH value and will make the fresh milk alkaline. By adding a very small amount of baking soda to fresh milk, the milkman keeps the milk unspoiled for a little more time than usual. As the pH value increases, the milk slightly turns alkaline. And why does the milk take a long time to set as curd? As baking soda is added, it turns to base, but curds need an acidic condition to set. Hence, the milk will take a longer time to set as curd. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next one. Plaster of Paris should be stored in moisture-proof container. Why? We know that the chemical formula for plaster of Paris is calcium sulfate dot half a molecule of water, that is CaSO4 dot half H2O. This means that it will readily react with any molecule of water and form a hard substance called gypsum. Plaster of Paris is a white powder. It is highly reactive with moisture and molecules of water, since it can complete its water of crystallization and turn into this very hard substance. This hard substance is then known as gypsum, which has a chemical formula of CaSO4 dot 2H2O. So the chemical equation or reaction is as follows. CaSO4 dot half H2O reacts with 1.5 molecule of water to give you CaSO4 dot 2H2O, which is gypsum. So to prevent this white powder from forming into a harder substance, or to prevent plaster of Paris from spoiling and forming into gypsum, plaster of Paris must be stored in a moisture-proof container. So, to give an answer to your question, you can use points and say plaster of Paris has a formula of CaSO4 dot half H2O. It readily reacts with water molecules to form a hard substance called gypsum, which has a chemical formula of CaSO4 dot 2H2O. The chemical reaction is as follows. CaSO4 dot half H2O plus 1.5 molecule of H2O gives you CaSO4 dot 2H2O. To prevent plaster of Paris from spoiling and forming into gypsum, plaster of Paris must be stored in a moisture-proof container. That's it for this question. Let us go to the next one. Magnesium ribbons of the same size are taken in test tubes A and B. Hydrochloric acid is added to A, and while acetic acid is added to test tube B. Concentrations of both acids is the same, but in which test tube will fizzing occur more vigorously? Fizzing will occur when magnesium ribbon will easily react with the acids to form magnesium chloride in the first case. Now, we know that acetic acid is an organic acid and HCl is an inorganic acid. Generally, inorganic acids are more concentrated as compared to organic acids. Now, even though the same concentration of both the acetic acid and the hydrochloric acid has been taken, but we know that hydrochloric acid is a stronger acid as compared to acetic acid. Why? Because in an aqueous solution, as hydrochloric acid can release more H plus ions for the same concentration as compared to acetic acid. Hence, in test tube A, fizzing will occur more vigorously and MgCl2 will be formed. So, to give an answer to this question, we can say in test tube A, fizzing will occur more vigorously as hydrochloric acid HCl is a stronger acid than acetic acid. Even though concentrations of both are the same, HCl will be able to release more H plus ions in the aqueous solution than acetic acid, and vigorously MgCl2 will be formed in test tube A. That is it for this question. Let us go to the next one. Fresh milk has a pH of 6.6, and why does it change? Because it turns into curd. Fresh milk has a pH of 6.6, sometimes it's slightly basic, and we know that it takes a very long time to set into curd. But once the milk sets into curd, the action of bacteria takes place, and these bacteria, they produce acids. That acid is called lactic acid. That lactic acid is more acidic in nature. Therefore, the pH of the milk, once this curd is formed, will decrease as it turns to curd, because the whole substance that will be formed will be acidic in nature. So, to give an answer to this question, we can say the pH value of milk is 6 since it is acidic in nature. When it is turned into curd due to the action of bacteria, lactic acid is formed, which is more acidic in nature. Therefore, pH value of milk is reduced when it turns to curd. Next question. How do you prepare an indicator using beetroot? Beetroot is a natural indicator which turns red in acidic solutions and blue in basic solutions. Acids and bases can be identified using natural indicators such as beetroot, cabbage, plums, turmeric, and even litmus. To use beetroot as an indicator, you can boil beetroot in water to about 30 to 60 minutes. When this purple extract will be obtained in water, this will act as a natural pH indicator. This is how you can prepare beetroot using pH indicator. You can prepare pH indicator using beetroot, which will now turn red in acidic mediums and blue in basic mediums. Next question. Now we have multiple choice questions. The color of methyl orange indicator in acidic mediums is red and yellow in basic mediums. It is something we have already discussed in our sessions. It is important to remember the colors of phenolphthalein in acidic basic mediums, methyl orange, and litmus, since they are frequently asked questions. So, the color of methyl orange indicator in acidic medium is red. The color of phenolphthalein in basic is pale pink, in acidic is colorless. Color of methyl orange in alkali conditions. Bases that are soluble in water is called alkaline substances, and alkali conditions are basic conditions. So color of methyl orange in basic conditions is yellowish to orange, so the answer would be yellow. So color of methyl orange in alkali conditions is yellow, while in acidic conditions is red. Next question. A solution turns red litmus blue. Its pH is likely to be. You know, bases become blue, so it is the red litmus solution which is turning blue, or red litmus is turning blue, so its pH is likely to be between the range of 8 to 14. So you can choose the number which lies between 8 to 14. It is 10. So the answer would be 10. Now, next question. One of the following solution reacts with crushed eggshells to give a gas that turns light water milky. We know the gas that will turn light water milky would be carbon dioxide. The reaction of an acid on a metal carbonate gives us usually the salt of that corresponding carbonate and the CO2 and water. So eggshells have are made of calcium carbonate. So calcium carbonate will readily react with one of the acids. The acids that we know among these are HCl. So calcium carbonate will readily react with HCl to give you CO2, calcium chloride and water. This CO2 will then, that is produced, will on the action with lime water will turn that water milky due to the formation of again a white precipitate. So the answer is HCl. Next question. If a base dissolves in water, what name is it better known? We know that when bases dissolve in water, they are known as alkali substances. Hence the answer is alkali substances and not basic substances. Please remember the option will be D and not B. Next question. Which of the following substances when mixed together will produce table salt? Table salt has a chemical formula of NaCl. Means we need an acid with the anion of Cl and a base with the cation of Na. Hence, it wouldn't be sodium thiosulfate and sulfur dioxide, as it will not give us Cl. It will not be chlorine and oxygen, and it will not be nitric acid and sodium hydrogen carbonate. We know this is the very basic reactions when we study about acid reacting with bases. It is hydrochloric acid mixing with sodium hydroxide. Hydrochloric acid has a formula of HCl and sodium hydroxide has a formula of NaOH. Both of them will react to give you table salt, which is NaCl, the salt that is produced when both of them react with each other, and water. That is it for this question. Next question. What color would hydrochloric acid pH 1 turn universal indicator? Universal indicators are mixed with a variety of chemicals. Universal pH indicators, they are made of a variety of chemicals. They turn pinkish reddish in acidic solutions and purplish in basic solutions. Hence the answer would be pH is 1, so it is acidic, and in acidic mediums it will turn red. The answer is D, red. Next question. Which one of the following types of medicines is used for treating indigestion? Usually indigestion occurs in the stomach when there is excessive acid production. We need to neutralize the excessive acid that is produced in our stomach. The substances or the medicine that is used to neutralize excessive acid that is produced by our stomach are called antacids. One of the example of antacids is milk of magnesia, which is magnesium hydroxide. So the answer is antacid, option C. Let us now go to the next question, which is the last one. What gas is produced when magnesium is made to react with hydrochloric acid? Magnesium is a metal and hydrochloric acid is an acid. We know that the general equation when any metal reacts with an acid, we get metal salt and hydrogen gas. Hence, the answer would be hydrogen gas. You just have to look at the basic reactions when it comes to chemical properties of acids and see if you have studied similar reactions and relate to them in their reactivity order. So, what gas is produced when magnesium reacts with hydrochloric acid? We know that the salt MgCl2 will be produced and hydrogen gas will be evolved. So, the answer is A, hydrogen. That is it for this session and the entire chapter acid, bases and salt with exercises. Whatever question and answers and MCQs that I have discussed here will be provided to you in the form of an MS Word document or PDF document, so you can access all the answers very easily. I hope everything that I have discussed is clear cut and you can remember the important equations. So until we meet next time, thank you and please be safe.